Hello and welcome to BigJollyPolitics.com and our 2014 Republican primary candidate interviews. I'm David Jennings and today I'll be talking to Chuck Meyer. Chuck is running for Congress in District 36, which is my home district. The uniqueness of the district lies in its diversity. It is such a large geographical area that you have a mix of urban, suburban, and rural areas. Business runs the gamut from the space industry to petrochemical to lumber to ranching to farming to seafood. Throw in sport fishing on the bay in Toledo Bend and you begin to get an idea of just how diverse and big the district is. Good morning, Chuck. How are you today?
Good morning, David. Thank you for contacting me.
Oh, anytime. It's a pleasure to meet all the candidates running in my home district, especially. Well, why don't we just take it right off the top this morning and take a couple of minutes, 3, 4, 5, 10, however many minutes you want, and introduce yourself to the viewers at BigJollyPolitics.com with a little background, stuff like I don't know where you grew up, what schools you went to, are you married, do you have children, grandchildren, the occupation, just some stuff so people get to know who you are before we start talking politics.
Fair enough. Let's start with where I grew up. I grew up in flyover country up in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio. My ancestry is from all parts of the United States, but I have a lot of my ancestry came from Virginia and West Virginia, and they are. I'm very proud of my Virginia roots, and in fact, I went to the University of Virginia and studied engineering there, and learned a little bit about Mr. Jefferson. And Mr. Jefferson's politics are sort of what guide me these days, if you will. And that's I'm sort of jumping right into the political spectrum rather than giving you a background. I am a patent attorney. I am also an assistant prosecutor, assistant district attorney up in Hardin County for appeals and writs. And I have been married for 30 years to my lovely wife, Monica Boyd Meyer, who has blessed me with three daughters, Catherine, Emily, and Laura, who are in the age range of my youngest is 15, almost 16, and my eldest is 20, almost 21. What else can I tell you about?
No, that's okay. 30 years you said been married?
It'll be 31 in May.
You're
Yes, sir.
31. I just celebrated my 32nd, so I'm right there with you. It's marriage is a wonderful thing. Forget what the Democrats say, right?
Absolutely.
Well, what draws you to politics? I mean, have you ever held an elected position? Have you been involved in school board? I mean, just what brings you into the arena to start with?
No, I have not been elected to a public position. I have had appointed positions, most notably recently as an assistant district attorney. I've been involved in politics since I was in college. I released balloons behind Ronald Reagan in the 1984 campaign on the steps of the Capitol in Columbus, Ohio, where I grew up. And I've been involved in Republican politics on and on since then. But most of my time has been spent with my family and in my career. And I've been trying to carve out time in my life to contribute back to society some of the benefits that my commercial life has given me. And that's the main reason why I'm involved in politics, this urge to serve the community and the communities in this Eastern District, the 36th congressional district, if you will.
Sure. Yeah, I find that a lot. People want to be a servant, basically, at some point in their life. That's not unusual at all. Well, as I mentioned in the interview, in the intro, our district, CD-36, is very, very diverse. I'm not sure what the legislature was thinking when they created it. Can you have any idea what say a voter in Jasper, Texas, which is up in deep northeast Texas, would have in common with somebody in, say, Friendswood, which is right there in the metro area, the space center area? What would they have in common?
Well, the one thing, and I've been around the district for quite a while. As you may know, I was one of the dirty dozen in the 2012 race, and I guess I'm one of the dirty dozen again this time. And the one thing that everyone has in common is a concern about where this country is heading and a dedication to their community, to their families, to their churches, and you see that throughout the district, almost without exception. And uh, I think that this concern is one in which needs to be addressed and needs to be addressed dramatically uh, by whoever is fortunate to represent the citizens of the 36th congressional district.
Now, when you say concern for the country, can you elaborate on that a little bit? What are they concerned about? The
Absolutely,
common concern.
absolutely. I think there are three concerns that most people have throughout the district. One is that we are losing our civil liberties. We're losing our privacy rights. We are the Constitution that seems to be trampled on a daily basis. We're overregulated. I read a statistic the other day that 74 regulations per day have been put out by the Obama administration. They're concerned that we still don't have a Keystone pipeline, which would benefit a great portion of the 36th congressional district. They're concerned about the government interfering with our businesses and our lives, and stopping profitable businesses from occurring by overregulation, and I also must say by overspending and overtaxation. Those are the main concerns that I see. Also, I see the recognition that we're engaged in a cultural war. And as I've told many people on the campaign trail, I don't want people to expect our politicians to fight this cultural war. We all need to fight this cultural war. Our politicians, our fellow church members, our community organizations. It's not the role of government to fight the cultural war. It's the role of your politicians to be supportive of our joint fight in the cultural war.
Couldn't agree with you
So,
more on that one.
so
Yeah,
uh,
that's our churches really need to step up. Our people need to step up and start living their faith, I would say, and instead of talking about it, would be my take on it.
I could not agree with you more on that. So.
Yeah, as far as the okay, that's some common issues that we can all in our very large district agree on. But what about some specific issues specific to 36? Do you see any challenges? You know, a couple, three challenges facing the district itself?
Well, one area is our ports, because all the way from Orange down through the ship channel, we need to make sure that our ports can handle the increased traffic from uh, the uh, the expansion of the Panama Canal. But having said that, we need to do it in a responsible way so it doesn't destroy the beautiful shoreline in our area. And that's a challenge because even though I am very much a pro-growth individual, even though I believe that a proper role of government on a very restricted basis is to facilitate the development of our port facilities, for example, uh, working hand in hand with private industry. But we cannot destroy our environment in doing so. We have to be cognizant of the unintended consequences of dredging that area of our district and the surrounding districts. And that to me is a real challenge because the good Lord put us on this planet to be good stewards of our environment. He also put us on this planet to exploit the natural resources that this planet provides. And there's a certain tension between those two concepts. And I think we should be good stewards, but I also think that we should be exploiting the natural resources that the earth has provided us.
Yeah, no question. I happen to live on the coast of our district, so that's very important to me here in Shore Acres. You know, we have seen the effects of dredging that wasn't very well thought out, and how it has inhibited fishing, for instance, sport fishing. And so that's a very good point. What about up in your area, the Lumberton area? Um, Anything up there as far as mining the trees or the Indian reservations or anything like that?
Well, during the last campaign, I spoke with the Indian Reservation. They have their concerns. They would like to have the freedom to market tobacco more freely. They would like to have the freedom to have casino gambling, and I have very mixed emotions about that issue because, on the one hand, the I would think the majority of Texans have made it pretty clear that we do not want casino gambling in our state. On the other hand, there at some point we have to recognize that people go over to Louisiana to do their gambling, and maybe it is not necessarily a bad thing to allow the Indian reservation to have casino gambling. I'm very conflicted on that issue. I'm very upfront about the fact that I have not made up my own mind. I am concerned as a Republican that the Indian reservation is traditionally votes Democrat because the Democratic Party has catered to their desires in a sort of a social liberal way, and I got to believe that if there is a casino in Polk County on the Indian reservation, that the proceeds of that will go into Democratic coffers during election time rather than Republican coffers.
That would not be a very good thing for us.
No. And
Uh,
and 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 so that's an important issue for the district, and that's one in which I'll turn to the people of the district to get their sense of what the right thing is to do with
Yeah, I
respect.
mean that's probably the best way to do it. That's what we're supposed to be doing anyway as representatives, representing the people of our district. We've kind of gotten away from that, I think, a little bit, which sort of leads us into the next topic here. You're running, as you said earlier, the Dirty Dozen. It's a very large field of candidates. We have a couple of people that are frankly carpetbaggers coming in to try to win an election in a district they've never lived in, and then we have many people that actually live in the district and care about it. What sets you apart from that field? It's a large field, and it ranges anywhere from a teacher at North Shore High School, to a multimillionaire vice president of Americans for Prosperity.
I guess I can only talk about myself, and I'll let others decide how I am different from the other candidates. I believe I'm the only degreed engineer in the race. I am a technology lawyer. And if you look at the main issues that I'm concerned about, uh, whether it's the Obamacare website, data privacy, data protection, the NSA scooping up all of our communications data, uh, those issues are ones in which I have a unique background, having been an executive with the BlackBerry company, having run one of their divisions in Europe, having to deal with privacy laws in Europe, as well as encryption laws in the US and Canada. I have a unique perspective on the technology underlying many of the issues that we face in our government. I also have started my career as an engineer at the Pentagon, uh, as a civilian and as a communications engineer with the Defense Communications Agency, and was later a patent examiner at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I've also worked for a federal judge, and thus I have worked for two branches of our federal government. I've never worked for the legislative branch, but I've worked for the executive branch, and I've worked for the judicial branch. And I think that brings also a unique perspective to the role of a U.S. congressman. Uh, I have operated at the intersection of engineering, technology, business, and law for the past 30 years or more. I received my engineering degree in 1983, so I guess it is 30 years. And this year it'll be 34 years, 31 years next year. So I'm a technology geek, technology lawyer, and I'm a small businessman entrepreneur. And those are the type of citizen legislatures that I think we need to return to. If you look at the original founding fathers, They were not career government people. You had Benjamin Franklin, who was a publisher and a scientist, and you had Thomas Jefferson, who was an inventor, and he was actually the founder of the U.S. Patent Office. And he, if you think about the agrarian society that Jefferson proposed, he was really talking about small businessmen and entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs of the day, in the South at least, were farmers. You had to be entrepreneurial if you wanted to be able to farm the land. In fact, Jefferson invented a plow that he submitted to the patent office to get a patent on. And we need to return to Congress those that are not career politicians, those that simply won't just vote the right way, but those that will take up the mantle and fight the fight and convince others of the correct path to take this country down.
All right. Well, I think that pretty well says it, actually. So, how can people find you? Website, Facebook, Twitter stuff.
My Twitter handle is elect Chuck Meyer. My Facebook page is elect Chuck Meyer. My website is under construction. We are retooling it because the different field than I thought I was going to be running against Congressman Stockman. I'm one of a handful of those that jumped in the race who actually filed before Congressman Stockman decided to go on to bigger and better things. And so I've had to retool a little bit my website in that regard.
Okay.
And my website is www.meyerforcongress.com, and it should be up in the new year. We're continuing to work on it through New Year's Eve. I won't be celebrating with fireworks. I'll be looking at pictures and pixels this evening.
Pictures and pixels this evening, huh? All right. Well, thanks, Chuck Meyer, for joining us today, and best wishes on your race. And folks, we're going to wrap it up at that. And stay tuned for more candidate interviews, and we'll follow up with Chuck and see how his race is going in a month or so. Have a great day.
Thank you.